Hey friends, welcome back to Castro Valley News Live. We're in episode 26, I think. And if you're not familiar with the show, this is it's audio only, and it's an opportunity for us to interact live. My name is Robert, and I don't mention that too often during any of the episodes. My name is Robert. We've been doing Castro Valley News since 2011. It's been a minute. It's been a lot of fun. I have been a reporter here in Castro Valley for a long time. A long time, over 10 years. Used to be with the Forum, and we parted ways 7 years ago, maybe. And we are happy to do this live show where we can interact with you guys in real time. And before we get to the show, I would like to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Habitat for Humanity. And what they're doing is, this is really cool, and we've been mentioning this the past few episodes. If you are ready to get rid of your old mattress, you can recycle it at the Habitat for Humanity Restore in Oakland. And every mattress dropped off, for every mattress that you drop off, you can receive $3 cash or $5 in-store credit at the Restore. And the cool thing about this is your mattress gets recycled with Bye Bye Mattress, and the materials get turned into hundreds of new products. So in return, you can use your cash or in-store credit towards any number of household items, and you get to support Habitat for Humanity's mission to build affordable housing in the Bay Area. Limits do apply. Visit bayarearestores.org for details. And the Restore is a very cool store. I hope you've been there before. If not, I hope they're open during the shelter in place. I believe they are. They're located at 9235 San Leandro Street, and that is in Oakland. They are open Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well. And their phone number is 510, get a pen or paper, or a pencil and paper, 510-777-1447. I'll give you that to you one more time because I stumbled on the area code. 510-777-1447. It's very cool. You get $3 cash or $5 in-store credit for your used mattresses. And if you're like me, you see these mattresses dumped all over the place. Gosh, where did I just see some the other day? I think it was in down in Ashland. Mattresses are well, it's kind of difficult if you don't have a truck, but if you do and you're looking to get rid of some old mattresses, take them down and help Habitat for Humanity. You get $3 cash or $5 in-store credit at the Restore in Oakland. And the Restore is kind of like it's kind of a specialty store, and they've got all sorts of good stuff, and you'll be helping Habitat for Humanity, and you'll get some cash or in-store credit, so it's a win-win. With that said, let's talk about the smoke. Looking outside right now, and this is actually the first day in a while where it's been it's been breathable. Um, California is just taking it on the chin, left and right, with well, everyone's dealing with COVID, but we've got these horrendous fires. I heard on the radio earlier today that the amount of California that has burned with all the wildfires is about the size of Connecticut, and that's mind blowing. Um, and then, on the heels of these fires, we get the smoke, and God, it's just horrendous. Hi, Kim. The same question you ask every week, and I thank you for the question. And actually, I think about your question during the week. Um, when is the bowling alley going to open? I wish I had an answer for you, and I just don't know. I can tell you that I have seen some of the employees in there bringing in new flooring for some of the alleys. So when they do open, we will definitely let you know. I've been in contact with the owner sporadically during the shelter in place. Good folks, and she assured me that as soon as they had an idea of when they would open, they would let us know. So we will definitely let you know. And I miss bowling as much as you do. We're super lucky to have a bowling alley in our community, and yeah, our moderator is going to share some of the current California fire map information on the thread for you guys, so it doesn't sound like I'm just blowing smoke up your. Oh, smoke! I said smoke. But yeah, one of the things that I really, really love about Castro Valley, and I don't think we've discussed this before, is the Saturday night and Friday night bowling that at Castro Village Bowl, and gosh, I don't remember. It's been such a long time since I've gone, but I think you pay 10, $15 and you can bowl from 7 until midnight or something. And it's awesome. We're so lucky to have um, an open bowling alley in our community that is used by so many different people. The leagues are there. Oh, almost. I think they have league nights 3 or 4 nights a week, and how cool and how lucky are the Castro Valley High students to have. I think they still do PE, their physical education at the bowling alley, and kids do parties there. Um, yeah, it's such a great asset to our community. So Kim, thank you again for asking. I know you are anxious and awaiting the bowling alley to reopen, as are many other folks. But I will let you know as soon as I hear anything. I I don't know where bowling alleys kind of fall into play with the shelter in place. I haven't really heard anything about bowling alleys reopening. I know I think there's a lawsuit that's going through Los Angeles from some gym owners who want to reopen, and I guess as long as the numbers are reflecting um, new cases in decline and people um, uh, in the hospital in the ICU units in decline, I guess the restrictions will be easing. And I know who isn't anxious and anticipating the restrictions to lessen so that we can uh, return to uh, at least one more step of closer to normalcy. Sorry, I'm stammering. I'm trying not to because I know that's one of the big issues when we started doing this was full disclosure, I'm not a professional at this. I didn't go to radio school. I've listened to talk radio for many years, but this is kind of a new dimension for me. So if I stammer and stumble upon words, I thank you in advance for your patience. I'm not a pro at this. I'm getting better, and thanks again for your patience. Thank you to everyone who has been a guest. We've had some really cool guests, and we have a guest coming up tonight. We're going to be talking to Alameda County Sheriff's Department Sergeant Ray Kelly. One of the things that I would like to pick his brain about and have him shed some light on is the bomb threats that are being sent to many school campuses. So as soon as Ray gives us a ring, and that will probably be around 7:15, we'll touch base on that and some other things that that he'd like to bring up. I'm just gonna let him, kind of bring up whatever topic he wants to, because he's an authority on a lot of things that myself, I don't know what's happening, and it seems like the sheriff's department are on the front lines of a lot of things and issues happening in the state, not just in Alameda County. But we'll get to those topics shortly. One of the things that comes up during every episode is I want to thank you guys for. I'm seeing our restaurants who are still doing outdoor dining. They are packed. Even more. It seems like every week the momentum grows, and the crowds outside of our businesses, our restaurants, our eateries, they are growing every week, and that is because you guys are basically putting your money where your mouth is. Sorry, that's a bad joke, but it's true. I'm seeing at JP's. I'm seeing outside of Doug's. What are the other places? Boulevard Burger. I always forget to mention them, but I mentioned them this time. And the takeout, the places doing takeout. Sorry, the outdoor dining. Also at Del Cafe. There's some tables outside Del Cafe. People are, that place is an institution here in Castro Valley. Wen's Cafe. Shout out to Wen's Cafe. They're fantastic people, wonderful people. Also, Knutsen's Ice Creamery, they are packed outside. And with the hot weather, it's perfect timing to get yourself an ice cream or get their very popular and delicious black and tan. If you've never had one, go try one. It is I won't tell you what it is. Just go order the black and tan, and you'll be impressed. and your taste buds will thank you, because those things are delicious. They're not in Castro Valley. There are a couple streets, well, actually one street outside of Castro Valley, and Val's. Val's is doing takeout, I think Fridays and Saturdays. I think they're doing lunch and dinner. Shout out to George and Lester and the family there. I can't say enough about the kindness and generosity and just how awesome that family is. I'm going to try and say it without getting it incorrect. Nicolopoulos. George and family, great people. Like I said, they're not technically, geographically in Castro Valley, but they're close enough for us to spread the love around. Matthew's asking about Portales, and thank you for mentioning that, because it's another place that's doing the outdoor dining, and they are they've got people out there. They've got great food, and I can't say enough again about Rosa and Gustavo. Just top-notch people, great food, always a smile on their face, always happy to see you, and I know I'm going to kick myself because I'm forgetting some other places that are doing the outdoor dining, and needless to say, there's lots of businesses that are doing the takeout that are relying upon your patronage. Los Mocolletes, I actually said that one right, on Redwood. Great people, great food. The taqueria at the Supermercado across the street from Trader Joe's, they are doing takeout. More fantastic people. Um, Gosh, I'm racking my brain. Cafe Rumi over, I think they're on Higher and Center. More great people, more local folks doing takeout. These they all rely on our patronage to keep going, especially during this troubling time. Just giving Ray a reminder about the live show, so I bear with me. Thank you, Matthew, for mentioning Portales, because, like I said, I would have forgot them, and I don't want to forget Rosa and Gustavo. Who else is doing takeout at this time? The hair salons are open, and they're just trying to fill the gap of the last, 7 months. I think it's been since they've been closed. We have a lot of great salons, a lot of great people who work at the salons. If you go to, I can't think of the name. It's the hair salon it's actually 2 doors down from Los Mocolletes. You can go into the barber shop there and say hello to Al Proietti, who used to be in the Village. And I don't know what days he's there, but he's there. And you know, I'm just thinking about so many people and personalities in town that we don't get to see because of the shelter in place. It's not, life is not what it used to be. It'll go back. But I'm just thinking about not seeing Al anymore, and we're so fortunate to have so many great people who live in this town, who own businesses, or just people who own businesses in town. And shout out to Don over at One Bad Apple. I'm not seeing him in the comments, or maybe I just didn't look close enough. Oh, Matthew, sorry. Hi. I not trying to diss you. How are you doing, Matthew? Matthew is a great dude. Matthew Taylor is a great dude. Used to live in town, and Matthew's a super kind guy, and he's over. He is a transplant from Castro Valley to another state, and good guy. I miss me some Matthew, and Matthew's mentioning Stanley. Yeah, Stanley Bueno. I was just talking to Randy, who is the guitar guy, who you probably see over at the donut shop across from Pete's Hardware. And I was talking to Randy across the street. He was across the street coming from the donut shop, and I was on my bicycle in the street. And we were actually we were just talking about Castro Valley, and Stanley came up. And Stanley was not, you would look at Stanley and you would think he was one thing, but he wasn't. And I think in that respect, Stanley was a great lesson for a lot of us. Stanley kind of chose to live on the street for a lot of his life, and a lot of the time that he spent in Castro Valley. He did have parents that cared an immense amount for them, and that is Sharon. And but Stanley, yeah, I think of Stanley pretty often. When he passed, there was a lot of people who just were heartbroken, myself included. I remember just seeing Stanley a lot in Castro Valley, and saying hi, And then there was one time I was wearing a shirt with Ricky Henderson on it, and his eyes got huge, and we went on this long conversation about the Oakland A's, and particularly Ricky Henderson. And I know I've mentioned Ricky numerous times as a kid, and Kathy is mentioning Stanley had a big heart, and he did. Um, but I just remember standing out. Gosh, where were we? I think we were over by Tony and Ted's, near that kind of catty corner near. I think that's San Carlos, near the auto mechanic place over there, and we were just talking about the A's. I was talking to Stanley about the A's, and um, he was like a walking encyclopedia about sports. I mean, he was talking about hockey, and I didn't really follow the Sharks, but he knew all the players, all the stats. But like I said, we were talking about the A's from the 80s and the 90s, and so articulate when it comes to sports. And then we were talking about we were talking about Cliff Burton. He Stanley apparently went to school with Cliff Burton back at Marshall, I believe, and you probably saw Stanley would be seen in the Cliff Burton shirt. And then Annette is mentioning, yeah, the Raiders. We were talking about the Raiders as well. And Stanley loved the Raiders. He loved Bay Area sports with a passion. But we were talking about Cliff Burton, and he just, yeah, I saw Cliff playing at Marshall, and Melissa's asking, why isn't there a picture watch party? We're just doing audio with the talk show here. Maybe someday we'll do video. I'm not very appealing, so you probably don't want to look at me sitting here blabbing. But yeah, Stanley. Yeah, that was he was a local legend, and he had a heart of gold. But yeah, I think about Stanley as well. And I just texted Ray Kelly, so he may have forgotten and moved on to other things in his night. So if he calls, we'll go to Ray. But we'll just continue talking about things that are happening in town. We will have a hey Don, I was looking for you. Hey Don. Don's a solid guy. I've known Don for many years. I met Don originally when I worked at the Castro Valley Library, and Don's another local guy who's just got a heart of gold. He owns One Bad Apple on the boulevard right across the street from Pete's Hardware. I'm trying to remember if Don actually hooked me up with Randy, the guitar guy, for that story that we did about him. But I know, yeah, Stanley was awesome. Stanley was, I miss Stanley. I miss talking sports. I miss talking about the A's with Stanley. And he would always just smile, hey. And of course, we would talk about how the A's were doing, if they were having a good season or a bad season, and we would talk about Billy Martin a lot, and again we would talk about Ricky Henderson as well, which I turn into a complete nerd when we when the topic of Ricky Henderson comes up. But I won't go into that. I won't step into that level of nerddom with Ricky Henderson tonight. But we will have we got a new Castro Valley News magazine that will be hitting the streets Thursday. It was just shipped from the printers yesterday, so it should be here tomorrow. So Thursday, keep your eyes peeled. I'll probably take some pictures of where the magazine is at. And since the shelter in place is happening still, our drop spots are kind of limited. But like I said, we'll let you know where they're at. And we'll also be doing something different with the magazine this time around. We're going to try to do, we'll be doing some posts asking folks if they want them delivered. We'll just send them out in the mail. We'll only be doing Castro Valley addresses, but keep your eyes peeled for that as well. The new Castro Valley News magazine. Oh, so Ray said he's available, and we'll get to Ray as soon as he rings in, because I want to pick his brain about those bomb threats at schools, because that's really interesting, because it's apparently happening. In Dublin, I think other Bay Area for sure, but I'm not gonna say anything more, because I want Ray to talk on that. He's going to be calling in a couple seconds here, and we'll get right to him, and then we'll talk about. Oh, Matthew says his uncle mails him our magazine. That's awesome. Matthew, just inbox me your address, and I'll send you the magazine directly, unless you're more comfortable having your uncle send them over. That's awesome. He got a stack of them out in Dallas. That's cool. And also, One Bad Apple will have the magazines. We'll make sure we bring some there. But again, yeah, definitely. Probably Thursday-ish, we'll be putting some photos up there for where the magazine will be at, and again, we'll be mailing some out for people who want home delivery. Here's Ray. Hang on a second, guys. Hey, Ray.
Hey, Robert. Sorry, I'm running a little behind schedule.
No worries, man. I know you've got a life. You got kids. No problem at all.
How we doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
You on the air here live?
We're all live right now as we speak.
Well, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, so good to hear from you. Reach out to you.
Yeah. Hey.
I know we haven't talked to CVNers in a while, so I thought tonight would be a good night to.
That's great.
Reach out and touch base.
Let's get immediately into the bomb threats that are going at schools.
Yeah, so we're tracking those. We've seen those bomb threats in multiple cities throughout the Bay Area, and particularly in our county. Fremont had quite a few. They appear to be robocalls, like a threat call, and they're coming from overseas. So there's not a lot of validity to the calls.
Okay.
So we've been working with our JTTF and our FBI partners, and they have been able to track those calls overseas. And it sounds like it's some type of scam, and in addition, school's not in session. So I know we dealt with it a couple years back with all the school threats, but, there's nobody at school. There might be some administrators in and out of there, but most of the schools are pretty empty at this point.
Right. With that said, just the same, do you guys go to each school site and check it out and make sure it's clear?
We do, but we're kind of hip to the fact that these are intentional calls designed to kind of disrupt what's going on, and the fact that maybe they're not paying attention that school's not in session and there's COVID-19 going on. So we do look into them, and then we do document them, and then we collaborate with other law enforcement agencies to compare and document and keep data on the different calls.
Specifically, what country are they coming from?
I think it's somewhere in Eastern Europe is what I was told. So some Eastern European country, but then again, a lot of these calls and a lot of the transmissions are routed through different servers, and these individuals have a way of kind of covering their tracks using the dark web and hidden routers and things like that. So the FBI's on it, they're working on it, and at this point, there's not a lot of credibility to any of it.
Gotcha. Has anybody actually been tracked down, or is it just kind of?
I think Everybody's working on it and sharing information, and at this point, it becomes a federal crime to make a call like that to international incident, and so the FBI would have jurisdiction on that. But we'll continue. We partner with them. We talk to them on a regular basis. We have deputies assigned to the FBI on a special assignment, so they get all that information, and then they'll share it with us as needed, and then we would put it out to our community if need be. But right now, we'd love to figure out where it's coming from, and
that would be fantastic.
Yeah, the FBI does amazing things, and hopefully they'll be able to figure out what the source is. But as of right now, even with that, there's not a lot of credibility to it. Number one, because they're just firing these calls off all over the place, and number two is school's not in session, so that's bad timing on their part.
So it's Castro Valley. I heard Dublin, Union City. Or what are the other areas?
Fremont. A lot of the school districts have got them in one form or another. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think throughout the Bay Area as well. So, that alone tells you that there's, it's some type of spam threat.
What's the point? Just to stir the pot and disrupt?
You never know. There's always a reason for why people do what they do, but there's a lot going on in our country right now. There's a lot of uncertainty around a lot of different issues, and maybe it's just throwing more into the pot to cause more disruption. And so you have to look at it for what it is, that there's people that take advantage of opportunities, especially when communities are struggling with all sorts of different issues. And so why not throw one more on there and put some more fear out there into families and kids and schools. But like I said, that's our job. That's what we do. That's why we partner with the FBI and our other agencies to deal with these issues. So as of right now, I wouldn't lose much sleep over it, and I would just encourage everybody to still remain vigilant. But it's as far as on a 1 to 10 scale, it's not high up on the threat level as far as that goes. There's a lot of other things we're concerned about, but we're definitely looking into it.
Definitely, yeah, and it's just been kind of unnerving for some of the parents who don't particularly get too much of the information. But I'm glad that you shed some light on that, because I was wondering about a lot about it as well.
Yeah, well, I understand. I got school-age kids myself, so I understand what those concerns that parents have. But we're all doing homeschooling right now.
Yeah.
And so unless someone, the biggest concern you have is getting your Zoom class bombed by some outsider infiltrating your Zoom class right now is the major concern with schools. So we've had those incidents where people somehow get into the Zoom class and disrupt it and put obscene things on the screen or whatever. But so right now most of us are homeschooling and dealing with that, and that itself is challenging. I can tell you from personal experience.
Yeah. Have you guys been dealing with any of the Zoom bombing at all?
Not that I'm aware of. I know we've had a few incidents here and there about behaviors or certain things, but I'm not aware of any of our particular school districts getting Zoom bombed. Kind of a weird term, but yeah. But it does happen. It has happened. And one of the things too is that I guess some of the kids are putting replica handguns on the screen, and there's all these new issues that we haven't had to deal with before. So kids pulling out toy guns on camera, and then someone getting scared by that. So when school's gone virtual, you have a whole new set of virtual problems that go along with it. So
right.
But by and large, I think everybody's trying to get through the schooling, and it's very stressful on parents.
It's
and
tough.
So all the parents out there, I can sympathize with you, because I'm doing the homeschooling with my kids, and so I understand what it's like, and it's very challenging, and it's a lot of work, and you want to keep your kids they're learning fresh and current, but it definitely is a challenge. So, but our schools, our teachers have been amazing, doing a great job, our school districts, and trying to get and meet all the needs of all the different kids. So it's a big challenge for them. So
yeah,
we continue to stay in touch with our school district, and we have our school resource program, and we're obviously not as physically busy doing that job, but it's school safety is still important.
I heard you've got drones over the wildfires.
We do. We have a UAV team, unmanned aerial vehicle, or a drone team, as we call it.
Right.
We're one of the first agencies in the nation to do that program. At the time, many years back, it was very controversial. People thought we were going to do surveillance and do all sorts of things. And I think a lot of people equated drones in a public safety with the drones that the military uses overseas, which they couldn't be more different in regards to the platforms. But our UAV team is one of the most successful in the nation. It's been recognized by the Department of Justice. And our model has set up models throughout the country. So as part of that, though, we go up into a lot of the different wildfire devastated areas. We've been up in Sonoma, Napa, Butte. We more recently our own SCU fire complex that burned in Alameda, Santa Clara, and all the way down to Merced, second biggest fire in California history. And then we also were up at the up in Solano County at that fire that was pretty devastating out there. And then we're now up in Butte, which is a second go around for Butte County, who's already had to deal with a serious firestorm last year or the year before. In addition, they had the dam issue. So we've gotten to know Butte County very, very well, and the Butte County Sheriff's Office people very, very well. And so we have kind of this kinship with them, even though they are, several hours away. But they rely on us, and we've formed a great friendship with them. And what the drone does is it allows you to go up, take a lot of images, stitch them together, basically make like a Google map, a 3D map, and then you can publicly put that map out on a community website, on the county website, on a city website, and then homeowners can go and they can view their property and they can see what's left. So a lot of people have anxiety. They want to go back into the disaster area. They want to see if there's anything left. This is a way to kind of at least give people an idea of what they're going to be walking into when they get in there. And we've done it now several times with a lot of positive feedback from communities on doing it. So I think at one point we did the largest ever, up in Sonoma, the largest ever UAV 3D model in the country that had ever been done. So we continue to do that, use that technology, and it's been amazing. We have several dozen drones now, and they're forward deployed throughout the sheriff's office. So they're in Castro Valley. They're some of our patrol officers have them in the trunk of their car, and they can they radio to the control tower, and they're able to, kind of like an aircraft, they have to follow those protocols, and then they're able to launch, in an active situation under certain policy guidelines. They can send that thing up and use it to locate suspects or missing persons, or to do a threat assessment. And so it's been invaluable. Particularly helpful at crime scenes. Yeah, I'm on our bomb squad, and so now the drones are so small and tiny, and they have these high-resolution cameras on them. So on the bomb squad, for example, we're able to fly those things into and under areas that normally we couldn't access. And so we can send that thing downrange, look at a suspicious package, a suspicious device. We can fly it into a house and into a room and look around. And so that creates extra layers of officer safety. And in the bomb squad world, that's very useful. In the tactical world, when you're dealing with active shooter type situations, we just had a recent homicide in Livermore where a man killed his girlfriend and barricaded in that house, and we had a kind of a standoff with him. We definitely used the UAVs on that to get situational awareness, and ultimately one of our crisis negotiators was able to talk that person out, and we were able to take him into custody without any further violence. So that was good. So that's just one. Those are some examples of that technology, and it has been invaluable. And it's a lot cheaper than flying a helicopter. Yeah. And you can pop them up anywhere, and as long as you got battery power, you can keep going. Yeah. One of the other things that you mentioned that you wanted to discuss was thefts. What's going on? Yeah, we were actually going over the stats today, or stats, in law enforcement. We deal a lot in numbers and statistics, and we follow statistics and trends. And of note lately is the amount of theft of vehicles and theft from vehicles. And it's just a persistent problem, and it continues to get worse. And there's probably a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of incentives for criminals to break into cars and to steal cars because we're still under that zero bail system. And so there's really not a lot of penalties out there at this point. That's a kind of a revolving door at our jail in regards to property crime. So our stats are spiking in regards to property crimes. And I see all of our Castro Valley folks on Nextdoor. I hear you. I see you. I see what you're posting. We obviously get the reports. We're out there taking reports, but it's a very frustrating time. Quality of life issue, crime issue, and there's prolific theft going on out there. And like catalytic converters is another big thing going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
We just took off a pretty good catalytic converter theft ring out in the rural part of the county, out on the east side of the county. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of theft going on, and that seems to be one of the bigger major concerns in Castro Valley.
What are some of the preventative measures that people can take in those instances?
You know, you could do your best, obviously to not make your car a target, but these are crimes of opportunity. So these folks are smart. They may not do it in front of your house, but we had, if you remember back last year, we had a series of thefts at the Starbucks.
Yep.
Or at our businesses and our retailers, where people, they get out of the car, they run in the store, and they left their purse, a laptop, a phone. So crime of opportunity. But most people park your, we've talked about this before, but park your car in the garage if you can, put it in the driveway. If you really got nothing in it and you're really not worried about it, some people are leaving their car doors unlocked so they don't have to deal with a window smash. It's a persistent problem, and I think in all of us, when we go somewhere and we park our car, when we walk back, we hope not to see a pile of broken glass on the ground. So, and if you've been the victim of that, it's not a good feeling. So we just got to be smart and vigilant about it. And there's only so much at this point we can do. We're pretty overwhelmed with the amount of property crime out there, but we try to be responsive to each and every call. And we're one of the last few law enforcement agencies that still do that. Go to each and every call when you call us.
Now, are these local folks that are doing this, or do you have any idea? Is it like a ring, or?
The typical theft type person is someone usually that has some type of an addiction, and they're using the proceeds from those thefts to buy more drugs. And so they're willing to go into any city, any town. They communicate, they network, and they say, hey, this is a good spot, and they target those areas. We catch on to that. We then come in, try to catch those individuals, but they are already moving on to the next spot. So they have their little underground network. They communicate. They know what the hot spots are. And so they'll go all around our region of the county, the central part of the county, between Hayward, Castro Valley, San Leandro, Oakland, and do this kind of activity. And a lot of times they'll be driving a stolen car. So
wow,
surprise, surprise.
Yeah. A couple people are wondering about zero bail. Can you give some explanation on that and where we're at with it?
Yeah, zero bail. It's been now in effect for a while. It was designed to kind of reduce the jail population and to get people out of custody due to COVID for those less serious offenses. The Judicial Council in California voted that in, and then a decision was made later on to allow individual counties to make their own decisions in regards to zero bail if they chose to keep that zero bail schedule or go back to a more traditional schedule. So our county opted to keep the zero bail, and we did get some tools to be able to negate some of the issues around zero bail. So if we continue to come across the same person, they're reoffending, we can file an affidavit with the court to get a bail enhancement, and not to get the zero bail release revolving door thing. So there were some tools that were put in place that were public safety minded in that regard. But Zero Bail's still here, and it's supposed to continue on for 90 days after the pandemic's over, which nobody knows when that is. So it's here for the very, very near and long future ahead.
Let's go into another topic you wanted to mention, and it reflects in a comment that someone just posted. Dot said last week her mom was attacked at the Quick Stops gas station in Castro Valley by a homeless man. What's happening with homeless?
Did Dot say that his mom was attacked by a homeless person?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Well, the homelessness issue is very, very big in Castro Valley. We have a whole dedicated team of deputies that are working on that problem. And we're doing a lot of outreach. We've tried to get a lot of those people into the hotels to Operation Safer Ground. And some of the county purchased and leased several hotels to get those individuals into hotels. We cannot force people to go into hotels. And so we still have some of our homeless population that refuses to want to go into any of those shelters, where we provide free shelter, clothing, food. But some of these individuals do not want to go in there, and they don't want to be a part of that, so they continue to live in our community. We're spending a lot of money with the county level and at the state level with Caltrans doing a lot of these cleanups. They're costing a lot of money. They're causing a lot of damage to the environment, and they bring tremendous blight and vector control issues. But our deputies have become very acquainted with that population and have gotten very good at trying to mitigate those things and do it in a way that's sensitive, that's humane, and that's compassionate, but at the same time trying to deal with the problem. So our approach is, hey, we're going to offer you shelter, we're going to offer you help, we're going to offer you services, we're going to offer you prevention and programs, and if all that fails, then we move to enforcement, and then if we have to go to enforcement, then we do. But with the Zero Bail, in those cases, a lot of them are drug related, misdemeanor, minor offenses. Those individuals, they're pretty much out several hours later. So then you end up with this same cycle over and over.
Wow.
So that it becomes a kind of a persistent problem, and so you kind of have to manage it. And we're not really experts in this field. In law enforcement, we're asked to do a lot of jobs that we're not necessarily experts in, but a lot of the responsibility tends to fall on us to fix a lot of the problems out there. So we're working on it. We have our homeless liaison officers. They're out there. We work with our community-based organizations and our nonprofit groups to meet with those folks to get them. But there's some people that just flat out refuse to get the help that's being offered. And there's plenty of help out there if you want it. But some of that is tied to mental health issues and addiction issues. And that can be frustrating, but you also have to be understanding that those individuals don't really know what's in their own best interest at times. And so we have to try to coax them into those services and do that in a way that's respectful of them and respectful of the community. So it's a very delicate balance. We've dwelled into homelessness, and every individual that's homeless has unique issues. There's no broad brush to fix homelessness. It's each individual has a reason or a way that homelessness affects them, and so it's a very detailed approach. And so, wish a lot of people working on this issue, a lot of resources being thrown at this issue, but it does make for some difficulties for some people, and especially community members, they get frustrated, and we understand that.
And the whole game has changed in regards to how that issue is being dealt with due to COVID, because not many of the abatement situations have happened.
Yeah, I mean, the abatements, they take longer. We have to give more time, and we try to do it in a way to get people to shelter and to safe space. And with COVID, it does make it more difficult. And, then you're also moving people into different environments. And so, yeah, there's been some new challenges along the way for sure. Absolutely. But, we have the ability to right now as a county to help a lot of our homeless population out. It's just a matter of whether those people choose to take advantage of that situation. And like I said, mental health in certain situations plays a big role in that. There's just some people that they are happy living in those environments by themselves, and they have certain ways of thinking, and they don't want to be told where and what to do and where to go.
Yeah. Jessica is asking, are they coming from other areas, and why do so many congregate in Castro Valley?
So the answer to your question is yes. And when I say they're coming from other areas, a lot of our homeless population is coming from across the United States into California for a lot of reasons. And so I've run into people from the Midwest, from the East Coast, and from the center of the country that came out to California, and they come out here for a multitude of reasons. One way or another, they end up maybe addicted or have other issues, and they find themselves homeless. The weather, the draw to California is a big thing. And so a lot of our homeless population is not just from here, it's from across the country that they end up being transplants and coming here.
Wow.
I believe California has the largest homeless population in the nation. So it's persistent throughout the major metropolitan areas.
Yeah. And on the topic of homeless, there was a deputy who was unfortunately bit by one of our local homeless folks recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, I think when we talk about homelessness and homeless people, we're talking about a multitude of issues, and there's a lot of things that drive homelessness: poverty, lack of education, substance abuse, mental health. There's a lot of circumstantial issues that cause people to be homeless, but in the majority of the ones we encounter, there are definitely psychiatric issues at play. Obviously, someone that bites somebody, and we're trying to provide help or intervene, there's something more going on there. But yeah, our deputy was bitten pretty well, pretty good, and I know that individual was pretty violent. Mm-hmm. And that's one of our senior deputies. He's very good at his job, and for him to get bit shows you that level of aggression that we're dealing with. But so that individual's in custody, and now when they're in custody, now we have to get mental health and care to that individual to help them out, because we don't want to release them back into the community without trying to mitigate some of the problems. And so that's kind of what happens. And, there's a lot of work that our jails have become kind of repositories for homelessness. And so every community that can't deal with a lot of their problems, they turn to law enforcement to fix that problem. Law enforcement, we put people in custody. A lot of those issues are tied to crime. And so our jail has been going through a lot. And we got our jail population down to about 1,700, down from 2,600, and it's now creeping back up to about 2,000. So the numbers are going up again after we kind of de-incarcerated and got those numbers pretty low, and now we see it creeping back up again. So,
can we get a status report on the deputy that was bit?
Yeah, I think he. I haven't talked to him, but I think he went. He got treatment. He had to get tested. There was obviously time to get bit. He had to get some lab work done to make sure there was no communicable diseases. And I think last I heard, he had some kind of issue with his hand. And I'm not sure if he's back to work as of yet, but I think that hopefully he is. That's been a couple weeks now.
Yeah. And from what you told me, it wasn't just a bite. It was a significant...
Oh, yeah, it was pretty vicious. Yeah. It was pretty righteous. We don't sign up to get bit, spit on.
Right.
That's not something we sign up for. We don't sign up to get punched in the face.
Right.
We don't sign up for that, but it is part of the job. But it's not cool. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's our job to deal with those individuals and do it in a way that's appropriate, so that they don't hurt someone else in the community.
What else did you mentioned you wanted to discuss protests?
Protests, yeah, they kind of, the protests have kind of died down quite a bit. And we were sending a lot of resources up to Oakland, and it seems that has died down in the last several weeks. Probably a lot of that to do with the fires and smoke. And so the protests have kind of quelled a bit, but we were busy out there for several weeks. Our courthouse had about $300,000 worth of damage done.
It got hit twice, right?
Oh yeah. They tried to burn it down, vandalized it, destroyed it. It's a historic building, and a lot of the granite and some of the historic value got graffiti and written over, and so we had to spend several $100,000 to clean all that up and fix it. It's pretty frustrating.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up and discuss?
No, I just just want to tell everybody, you've all been through a lot in the last several months. I don't think the world could throw any more problems at you, but keeping that in mind, if you haven't prepared your domestic preparedness kit, with supplies to be ready for what's likely to be some power shutoffs coming as we hit into the winter and the fall.
Oh yeah.
The fall and the winter rather. Be prepared. Be prepared for more smoke and more fire in the coming days. More smoke coming down, possibly from those northern fires back down into the Bay Area, affecting our air quality. Be ready for heat and all of the different things that have been thrown at us in the last several weeks and months. COVID-19 continue to help us flatten that curve. We had a tremendous spike over the summer, and we're starting to see a lot of progress now, and those numbers are coming down. Our county's doing relatively well. We're the seventh largest county in the state, and so our numbers are, I think as of today, we were like ninth in cases and deaths. So our numbers we're where we should be. Obviously, not where we want to be. But we need to continue to keep that COVID spike that we had this summer was pretty intense. But those numbers have come down quite a bit, and we seem to be on a better side of it now. But the last several months with COVID-19 have been very, very difficult. As you know, we lost 2 employees to COVID. One, Deputy Oscar Rocha, and our other non-sworn sheriff's technician, Valerie Leon. And so those two people were very important to us. Actually, Oscar was a good friend of mine. I went to the police academy with him, and he had 25 years with the agency, and he got COVID-19. And you don't realize how serious it is until one of your friends dies from it or a family member. So just a reminder that it affects everybody differently, and that there's a lot of unknowns in regards to COVID. But more importantly, we got to be smart, because when we go home, we can expose people in our families that are at risk. So we continue to work on that issue with our public health partners. Our county continues to be kind of one of the most cautious counties in reopening.
Yep.
And I think we're adjusting. I hope that we can do more to get the businesses moving and back and open, especially in Castro Valley. Really relies on that. And in addition, I don't know what we'll do this summer in regards to Robert. In regards to your cruise night, I'm going to be sad if we can't do it. Maybe we'll be able to pull it off. without any social gathering. I don't know.
It was in August. It's.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we missed it already. Never mind. I can't believe it.
That's all right. We'll come back next year. All the events will come back next year, and they'll be bigger and better.
Yeah. I mean, that we love doing that. I know Sergeant Nelson loves doing that with you, and we just missed that. See, that's how fast the calendar's going. But
totally.
But So
we're 7 months into this already. It's crazy.
Yeah. So hopefully we continue to keep the COVID down. Thank you, everybody, for all that, for all your patience. We're working really hard for everybody on all those different issues, and public safety, and homelessness, and COVID, and all the different issues we've faced over the last several months. And we're tired. Protests, all the different civil unrest we've dealt with, the looting, the power outages, the heat waves. It's our people have been working flat out, and they're very resilient, and so we should be very proud of our sheriff's office. As I always say, we really truly are doing the best we can for everybody, and we'll continue to do so.
For such a beautiful state, California just keeps taking it on that chin.
Yeah, I want to wake up from this. It kind of hit home to me the other day when my 10-year-old, my daughter, said to me, "Dad, is it always like this in the summer?" The last 3-4 summers she's had to deal with smoke and all this, and I had to explain to her, no, this is the first time in my life that I haven't seen blue skies all summer long.
Yeah.
So it's funny that the kids they don't know, they don't realize that they're growing up in a different time than we did. A lot of us did.
Yeah.
And so you learn not to take blue skies for granted.
Definitely.
So that you can go out and go for a jog or a run or a walk with good air quality. And those things matter to communities and to people. And
Huge.
That's how we keep healthy and safe, is by doing those things.
Totally. Hey, Ray, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And as always, you are always welcome on the show anytime you want to come on.
All right, Robert. Thank you. And thank you, Castro Valley. Talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Ray. Take care now.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you, Sheriff Sergeant Ray Kelly, for coming on the show. A ton of a wealth of information just on those bomb threats that are happening in Castro Valley and across the Bay Area. And thank you to everyone who commented on the thread for your questions, your observations. You guys are awesome. We do this show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So needless to say, we will be here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. We'll talk to you then. In the meantime, stay safe, be good to yourself, be good to your neighbors. And as always, when the going gets weird, the word turn pro. Thanks again, everyone. Stay safe.